Good morning. Um, I know I've been off the radar for a hot second, but I figured I had about 15, 20 minutes this morning before I had to go into work. So I was like, let me just put something on camera, if nothing else for myself, because it's been a really interesting couple of months, and I feel like I just need to like go ahead and do it, especially given what's happening. Um, so yeah, last month, on the 25th, was my 15 months on testosterone. And I'm just like, holy shit, it's been like more than a year. Um, and kind of thinking about how much I don't even think about that anymore. Like, it was more of a, oh yeah, that was a thing that happened. Um, but I feel like some consistent things have been the same across all videos. So things like I'm still a giant fuzzball. I'm like pretty used to that at this point. Um, the physical changes are slowing. I still feel like my voice is still dropping, but like that's not something I think about a whole lot, except for when I'm around large pockets of cis dudes. Um, and specifically, like the staff that I work with, I have these moments where I'm like, oh shit, do I not sound like me? Which is a thing. My weight had it like went up, and now I've kind of like it's kind of going back to where things were. Hopefully, like it kind of doesn't do the whole thing again. But in general, I can wear my clothes again. Slash, some of the things still don't fit, like this shirt that I bought that I'm currently wearing. It used to fit me better, and now it's kind of like wrinkly and like not fitting on my shoulders. And part of that is because I have not been in the gym too regularly. I finally went to physical therapy for my shoulder. My physical therapist was like, "Your shoulder is experiencing this thing where it like gets pulled forward often." I was like, "Oh right," because I bind every day for like 8 to 12 hours, those kinds of things. And then she looked at me and she's like, "Hi, you need to stop doing that." So that's a thing that has been going on in my life. But for the most part, things have just kind of progressed in the same way. I don't really think about them in the same way until I get reminded. My roommate calls my facial hair feeling follicles. And that's kind of funny just because I'm like, oh my God, I have so many feelings. And she's like, yeah, you need to shave. So I did this morning. And I still feel like I missed it. It didn't work. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest challenges that I've been really experiencing this month are like that I'm stealth at work. And stealth is not ever some like stealth, like, right, like was never something that I ever wanted to do. I never wanted to be in a position where like didn't feel comfortable being out about my history. And I think because I think it's like a really important part of who I am, and um, I'm not out except to my bosses. Like all of the pro staff know, but or much of the pro staff know, but none of my supervisors know. And I mean, none of my supervisors, none of my staff know the staff that I work with and supervise, and it feels just kind of weird to me about that. I feel like I'm like negating large parts of like ways in which I relate to people, and things that would make conversations. I mean, it's not like I'm self in the sense of like there's nothing trans in my office. There's like all of the stuff that I did when I was working in California, and there's a lot of like trans pride things and T camp. They're subtle, but they're there, and it's kind of like you got to pay attention to certain things. But I've never explicitly named anything to the staff, so we'll see. Slash, I don't think that they really care slash understand slash know like notice these things, so it's kind of like one of those things. But they do know I'm queer, and that's fine, and I really appreciate that. um, but it definitely does get into like squirrely situations when somebody is like, oh hey, like I am having a really bad stomach ache, and I'm I don't want to assume something, but or like people like really bad stomach ache and they weren't, and they were having cramps, and they like just didn't feel comfortable telling me, and I was like, nah, I got you, like, listen, I know all about that. It's like, so it's this really interesting space to talk about and not talk about certain things that I like. I'm like, yo, there's a whole drawer full of stuff if you need it. and like I'm the one that's doing it, and so I'm sure people are like, what is up with this kid? Um, and other new like it's really interesting because I do that and I'm stealth at work, but then like in my classes, all of my classmates know that I'm trans. It's never been a thing. But what's really interesting is I feel like I've been more open about experiences in my past and talking a little bit more about the way I see gender and the way that I see my work and the way that I see myself functioning in the world. And they're kind of just like, oh, well, we never understood or thought about that. I'm like, right, one, because I've never told you, and two, you've never thought about it before. I'm teaching slash really I'm facilitating uh, like a dialogue group on gender, and so a lot of that stuff kind of comes up in my classes as far as the ones I'm taking, not the one that I'm facilitating. And so we were having this conversation about like how essentially how trans folks have had to reconceptualize and think about their gender because we have to be able to articulate it for other people. It's the blessing and the curse and a struggle that comes with being trans or genderqueer or non-binary, basically not cis in the world, is that you're constantly having to figure out ways to get other folks to understand your gender versus folks who are cis don't necessarily have the same experience. And it's not a bad thing at all, but I think there's been no like way for cis people to really think about or embrace. It's kind of like they don't ever experience that, at least until you meet someone who like, at least from many folks who are in my class, they'll like until they meet someone who's trans, who's basically challenged them to think about how did they get to their gender. I don't think that's a question that's asked to virtually anyone. And so it's this really interesting experience to be having that conversation with my classmates and things, talking about like haircuts or dressing and shirts and things and nail polish and like what feels good and like what like, so like there are all of these huge things that are happening in my education classroom spaces, which are really great. And then I have to kind of like turn it all off and go to work and just be like, I'm the man, which is not my favorite thing in the world. But what is my favorite thing in the world right now and what's coming up is I am officially having top surgery with Dr. Melissa Johnson in a month from yesterday, so December 3rd. She's based out of Springfield, Mass, and so that's really great because it's a 25-minute drive from my house. And so we, being me, myself, and I, will be driving over there, and I've been telling people, it's like, I have a weight to get off my chest. Actually, it's like 8 pounds. But that's happening, and I didn't think it was going to happen until I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. And at the end of the summer, I went to my top, like, the consult visit, and then I was, like, waiting for my insurance, and my insurance came back and approved it, like, within, like, a week and a half, and I was like, oh, shit. And then they gave me a date, and so, yeah, the ball is rolling, and it doesn't, like, it just feels like I'm sprinting at this point, and so I'm trying to get everything together. So luckily, I'm, like, the last one in my friend group, to like have top surgery, so everybody's like, oh yeah, so you're gonna need this, and this, and like take this, and this, and make sure that you have bendy straws. Like those things are really helpful for me because like definitely starting to panic. I think I get up every day and I'm like, yes, one less day of like having to squeeze into my binder, and I'm really pissed about that because I had to buy 2 new ones, and I'm like, I'm having top surgery in a month, and these other ones like it was just work beyond belief, so I just went ahead and bought 2 new ones. But yeah, top surgery is happening for me, and I'm really excited about it. I told my mom via text this weekend. I'm gonna give her a phone call later on this week because I'm like, I need to talk to her because I was really hesitant about having her come out here and stay with me. And I think part of that was really just on me, like not really wanting to be taken care of and wanting her to take care of me. And also like worried about her mispronouncing me and misgendering me and like telling everybody that like I had top surgery. Like I don't want that. I really don't want my staff and my mom here. I don't want my staff to meet my mom. It's like, this is my personal life. Like don't meet my family. Given the host and context of a lot of the stuff that is going on in my family right now, I like want to keep my distance from them, and at the same time like it's going to be, I've been trying not to be a burden really. And so a lot of my transition I've been doing and kind of dealing with on my own, just so like they don't have to worry about me. And it became very apparent from the massive string of text messages that I got that my mom very much worries and is very worried. And she's like, I might fly out there. And I'm like, great, cool. Thanks, Mom. But it would be really nice, actually, because the one thing I will say is that she does know how to take care of me better than most people, I would say, unfortunately, just because she did it for so long. Um, so it will be kind of a nice reminder, I guess. And also, like, I won't feel so bad because I know, like, you need somebody for like the first 3 days to like help you get to the bathroom and like feed you, and like you basically can't do anything for yourself. So I won't feel as bad asking my mom to do those things as I would like my roommate or like my friends who have all volunteered. And like when I asked them, they were like, yes, what do you need? Can I help you? And I think part of it is like they don't know what exactly this entails, and frankly neither do I. But also I like feel like they would do that, and I'm not sure. Like I'm worried about ruining those friendships. So part of me is like, let's just call my mom because I know I can't really ruin that any more than I already have. So it's a little bit safer. But that, and then also what's really great about that is that like I get to do that, and then I like 2 weeks later I get to go home. So I get to go back to California for a couple weeks, and I'm actually really excited about that. If for nothing else, then I like know I'm not supposed to, and like I'm going to take my shirt off and go like stand on the beach for a hot second, even though it will be cold, not as cold as this, but it would be cold, and like have that moment to myself. And the possibilities of things that I get to do post top surgery for me are going to be really awesome. But yeah, it's time for me to go to work. I'm sure that like I probably will make another couple of videos before top surgery, just because I feel like that those are like gonna be things that I want to document, if nothing else, for myself. But essentially, if you didn't want to watch the whole video and the too long didn't read, is Sai's having top surgery in a month, and I'm super stoked about it. All right, so I'm gonna go to work and change some kids' lives for the next 8 hours, 6 hours, and then go to class and try and learn something. But hopefully I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. All right, deuces.